Welcome to episode 173 of the Reptile Gumbo podcast, and both of my co-hosts are here.
You're
It's
here.
an act of Congress for it to happen, but everybody is here,
And
we're only 5 minutes late.
we're only 5 minutes late.
James, the way he was going to have an aneurysm, you would have thought it was 15.
It's not me. Facebook doesn't like you to be late. There's a certain amount of time. If you say you're going to start at this time, and I think it's like 10 minutes past that, it doesn't let you to go live.
Oh, gotcha.
It's Mark Zuckerberg.
Okay.
It's his problem. All right, let's do our sponsor stuff. Get that out of the way.
He's an alien.
That's true.
Well, you know who's not an alien? Lone Star Reptile Rex.
Well-
And if you're looking for a high-quality PVC rack, look no further than Lone Star Reptile Rex. They offer a variety of sizes for all types of snakes, geckos, rats, and more. You can even order something custom. Shipping is available, or you can plan to pick up at a Herbst Reptile show near you. Visit lsreptilerex.com to reach out to Lone Star Reptile Rex and place your order today.
Yeah.
.com. That's so good. Little Shop of Horrors is a small feeder and pet supply business based in San Antonio. They regularly schedule feeder meetups around San Antonio as well as other neighboring towns and cities. Houston, I'll talk about that in a second. They offer shipping on their feeder insects, isopods, and are working on starting shipping on their feeder rodents too. All feeders are raised on a nutritional diet that optimizes the health of the reptiles and amphibians that consume them. I talked to Lewis over at Little Shop of Horrors, and he's planning on doing a meetup soon near Houston.
That's cool.
So if anybody's looking to get, hey, look, there he is. He's in the chat.
Yep.
If anybody's looking to get some feeder rodents, some very, very high quality feeder rodents, and you live in the Houston area, check out LIL''S Shop of Horrors and give them a message and see what you can get. See when he's coming and get your rodents, because I'm gonna get some rodents because I need rodents. And then and let me know. We can get some rodents.
I need something for Rachel's new bull snake.
I'm not gonna say anything.
It was given to her.
Oh, okay. So anyways, go check out Little Shop of Horrors for your rodents. Let's do, and feeder insects. And then herps.
Remember the key that John had at Conroe that kept escaping?
Yeah.
Well, we got tired of fucking with it Saturday. And I was like, yeah, Rachel's been wanting one. He goes, here. Have it.
Oh, Lord.
And it's awesome. Logan's been carrying it around all day for last 2
You
days.
said something about him playing video games or something with it on his neck or whatever, and I didn't put two and two together.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and do Herps reptile shows. So Herps, next Herp show is Slidell, Louisiana, July 22nd, 23rd. I need to get with you. I need to get with Debbie, and I need to get shipping supplies because my boas have been eating, and I need to post them and start shipping those things out so they can pay for themselves.
Yep.
So that is Slidell. That is July 22nd, 23rd. I assume Debbie will be there. She's always at Slidell. Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, July 29th, 30th. Still too far for us. Y'all have fun up there. Corpus Christi, August 12th and 13th. Bryan College Station, August 19th and 20th. Back to Conroe, September 9th and 10th. We were just at Conroe. Then Baton Rouge, September 16th and 17th. It's still Gonzales. I don't care what they say. It's Gonzales. But go to that show. That'll be a good show. Then out to Waco, October 21st, 22nd. And then back to Lake Charles, November 4th and 5th. So, also, I always forget to do VivTech because I need to make that money. So I'm just saying, let me go ahead and look on the screen. I can make a little ticker across the bottom. If you are looking for UV LED light bulbs, check out VivTech products. Use code GUMBO22 to save 15%. You can also use it for their smart devices, their cameras, their sensors, their snake bags, eventually their UV meters. Just saying, guys, I need a UV meter, so I need y'all to get back to making those.
Don't side eye me. I'm fully aware of what you need from Viv.
I'm not talking to you.
Oh, it looked like you were.
No, I'm side-eyeing Erica and Ryan because they don't have them yet, and I really need one. So
Why not have those listening?
the UV meters.
Oh.
Remember, they're switching to a new one, and it's going to be on top of it. So anyways, use code GUMBO22, save you 15%. Help us out a little bit also if you do that. And again, if you use those light bulbs, I use them on our chameleon. I've got them on these skinks back here. I've got them on tortoises. Robert's got them on a bearded dragon. We've got them on a bearded dragon. I've got them on a Euromastics. Love
So we've got several in our house.
I love VivTech light bulbs, and those LED bulbs will last forever. So
We even have a backup bulb in case we get something else that needs it.
that is true.
We have one sitting on a shelf.
Also, our giveaway for June. Don't forget, we've got a few more days. You can still jump in. Go to our Facebook page or the Facebook discussion group, either one. It's pinned at the top. All you gotta do is tell us your favorite family vacation, and you're put in for the games. Remember, we have
Does camp count if you don't go with us?
that's not a family vacation if I
But
don't
it's me
go.
and Joe.
Yeah, but you're working. That's not a vacation.
It is a vacation for me.
You're still working. Doesn't count. But anyways, you can get some board games. We got those reptile themed board games for your family. So all you gotta do is again go comment, tell us your favorite vacation on the post pinned at the top of our page, and you are put in there. I just got a notification that Max Wildlife Photographer on YouTube just posted finding a wild ball python. So somebody go watch his video so he can feel special.
You know you'll watch it later.
I will watch it.
See what I got today at the Texas Wildlife Park.
Is it a big cat of some sort?
It's another milk-clouded leopard.
No.
Oh.
I
And
keep
he also
seeing
got a spider monkey from Blake. And he told us about this weekend that he was getting them. But
that stuff always pops up on my Facebook now. His place. Every time I see a cat in Texas, I'm like, yeah, that's Rick.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that is it for right now. I think that's all the sponsor stuff. So let's go ahead and bring in our guests so we can go ahead and get
I
started
feel
with
like
that.
we need a checklist with our sponsors so that we can make sure we cover everybody.
We did them. We're good. You want to add any sponsors?
No.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Bring in Steve Kennedy from Steve's Snaketuary. Got to slow down. It's a lot of S's there.
Of course, Steve has seen us at our worst tonight.
I know my best. I know what I'm talking about. How's it going, Steve?
Doing great, man. Doing great.
Oh, so I told you I'd heard about you, I guess it's several years ago now, because it was on the Herpculture podcast when they first started. You were their sponsor and they were plugging your hot sauce, which we'll talk about at some point. And then I told you when we were doing our reptile day, I wanted to reach out to you, and then COVID screwed that all up, and our reptile day and Alexandria got messed up. And then Robert's fault that we moved away from Louisiana and moved to Texas. So then we never did that again. So
let's be clear. It's the fault lies in that they don't pay teachers shit in Louisiana.
That is true. That is true.
That's why you're here.
That is
Yep.
true. So
I just happen to be the one that pointed
But
it
I pointed it out.
so
quantified it with some data.
Yeah.
now we get to actually meet you. So let's get into you do educational shows and some other things. So if you want to go ahead and kind of give your elevator pitch, and then we'll get into some of it.
All right. So our mission at Steve's Snaketuary is to eliminate fear through education and bring peace through rescue. So we rescue snakes at homes and businesses. We take in pet reptiles that people can't take care of anymore, and then we do the educational presentations with them.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah, it keeps me busy. So, and for those that don't know, I'm also a firefighter and advanced EMT. So I'm working half days and half nights at that job. It's basically 2 full-time jobs, really.
It's just so hard.
So-
Right, now I know why it looks familiar.
Yeah. So if I'm like, say I'm working nights at my firefighter EMT job, I may be up all during the day running snake calls or different presentations. And then sometimes, I've got to schedule all my presentations on my days off and things like that. So it's pretty nonstop for me.
Yeah, I just realized why you look familiar to me. Because I
What?
was standing right next to you when Michael Pinnell was probing that snake this weekend.
You were next to.
I stood right there. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, man! You should have said something, man.
Wow.
Now you know.
Yeah.
Well, see, I saw Dax taking a picture with them. That's what reminded me. Oh yeah, I need to reach out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there's him and Randy and yeah.
Right. I've been dealing with Randy, man. Randy's helped me out. He was one of the first years, and he's the one that got me into the movie industry and everything else, man. So he's helped a lot.
Yeah, Randy's done some cool stuff. He's told me a lot of
Yes.
stories. I've had dinner with him a few times at shows. And
Right.
yeah, he always
Yeah, we had him on several Corpus Christi shows ago, and
Yeah.
it was recording. We talked about some cool stuff he did movie wise.
Things he could talk about.
Ooh, now I need to ask him again about the Righteous Gemstones now that the new season's out.
yeah, because he accidentally slipped up and said something. I was like, don't repeat any of that until the season comes out.
Yeah.
And it wasn't anything major. It was just
Mhm.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it yet, by the way.
Okay, I won't say anything.
Yeah, we I've got man. Working the movie sets is awesome, man. I have a lot of fun doing it, and I've got some stories too. There's supposed to be 2 movies coming out that we worked on, and I can't wait till they come out because I got a lot of behind the scenes pictures and stuff like that. So it's a lot of fun. So I'm glad
That's
I got
awesome.
in.
It would be neat. It would suck to not be able to tell anybody anything. Like, hey, this awesome thing, and I can't tell you anything.
Right.
That would be miserable. So, so with your presentations, I know today you said you had eight different presentations today.
Yeah. So today was completely different than what we normally do. Normally my presentations are around 2 hours. There's several things that we talk about. A lot of times we don't Of course, we don't bring all the local stuff. We bring several local snakes that people might find in their own backyard. When I'm talking to kids, I bring some of the pets, a boa and a python, maybe a bearded dragon or a turtle or tortoise or something, and talk about the pet side of it. But we tailor our presentations to who we're talking to. So especially if I'm doing it for first responders or nurses or doctors, I take the venomous for those and talk more about the venom, talk more about snake bite treatment and things like that. So we really tailor our presentations to who we're talking to. Now today, a school had, I guess it was like a summer school type deal, and each group of kids was going to a different classroom. I guess kind of sort of like school. Every hour you change, and so they had me do 8 different presentations, about 45 minutes each. So it was a lot of work.
It's a long day.
So yeah, very long day. So so if I look tired on camera, I am.
That's okay. We normally are too. James and I actually, one of my memories on Facebook today was when we went out to Pineville Elementary and did something very similar. We only had 6 programs that day, 6 rotations, but we were 30 minutes in each rotation and then 15 minutes between. And we did 6 programs that day with a handful of animals.
Katie and I both used to work at the Alexandria Zoo. And so then we both became teachers, and then we became known as teachers that also have reptiles.
Right.
So people would reach out to us, hey, will you come do summer school stuff with us? Yeah. That was the closest I ever got to do a summer school. Was like one day of visiting and doing some snake stuff. I'm not working summer school. I didn't become a teacher to work during the summer.
Except now you are.
Except for this summer. But I'm getting paid.
You're not dealing with kids.
That's true. There's no kids there.
Yeah. So like tomorrow, we've got 2 different libraries tomorrow. Like I said, they're normally 2 hours each. So we'll do like a 2-hour block of time, then another hour or 2, to get lunch or something, and then go to another library. So the most we've ever done until today was 3 in a day. We did 3 at 3 different libraries last year, a couple of days in a row. And that 3 in a row really stresses the snakes out. It really threw it for a loop. And that's one thing a lot of people, I guess I kind of jump ahead a little bit. People ask me especially when I do my rescues, is do I keep everything? And the pets that we take in, we keep. We don't really rehome those. The reason we don't rehome those is because I don't know how well somebody took care of a snake or a bearded dragon or something like that. And I don't want to give somebody a snake or reptile that has something wrong with it. You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
But another reason we have so many and we hold so many back is because I like to rotate them. I don't like using the same snakes and bearded dragons and stuff for every presentation. So we try to rotate those in and out so we don't stress all the snakes out. And then also, working on movie sets, the last couple of years, I don't always go, like if it's here locally, I'll go to the set. But if it's like in West Texas, they did several of them up north last year. If they call me for like 20 rat snakes and 10 rattlesnakes and so many boas and pythons, if I give all my snakes up for movies, then I'm not going to have anything for my presentations either. I always try to hold a bunch back for that. So just to make sure I have enough.
That makes sense. And then you also, if you think about it, though, you it's like with your presentations where they can only do so much before they're, okay, I'm done with this.
Yeah.
So you really, if a movie set says, hey, I need you to bring me 5 corn snakes, you really need to bring like 10 or 15 with you so you have the backups there.
Yep.
Well, yeah, I learned that doing a presentation for 4-H, I think, or
yes.
So I did
or FFA.
FFA.
Maybe?
It was an all-day presentation. I did several of them.
That was a long day.
And I had a big boa, and it was probably like the 5th or 6th presentation. I'm holding her head away, and all of a sudden I felt something on my elbow, and I looked down, and she just like took a bite and let go, and I was like, "Oh, she's done." She's like,
I don't even think it broke the skin.
Oh no, it bled just a little bit, but she didn't hold on. It wasn't like a hunger or a angry bite. It was just like, "Hey, quit fucking with me now."
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, "All right, from now on, we're taking multiple things."
Yeah, that was when we learned to take multiples.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then if we've got an all-day event, like we're not doing like a normal presentation, but we're setting up a table and just having people come and see the snakes and talking to them as they come up, I try to take several boas and pythons to rotate them during that whole day.
Yeah. And
people ask me all the time, well, are your snakes like dogs? Can they learn who you are? Do they know their owners? And from my experience, yes. I think they kind of learn our scents. I can be passing a boa around for several hours to different people. Then I know when it's tired. It starts to come to me. And so then from my experience, I think they do learn our scents and things like that, the way that we smell. and they kind of look at that as home.
Yeah.
And when they start getting tired or stressed out, it's kind of like they want to go home. They're like, okay, I'm done. Please put me up, kind of thing.
I've had some snakes before that I've set up in a tank, and then I had to take the tank off the table because the snake did just sat there and struck the whole time.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, you're not gonna be out today.
Yeah.
You know, I took it there knowing I'm not holding this thing, but it should be fine in a tank. And then I was like, no, I'm not fine in a tank. I want to kill everything on the outside of the tank.
Yeah. Right.
So your presentations and all this stuff, and you can only answer this one, you don't have to, but are these paid things, volunteer things? How does that work?
Yeah. So our presentations, we do charge for them. We ask for, we used to just ask for donations, but because a lot of things changed last year for us, we've kind of had to increase our prices and do set things. Like with our insurance went through the roof last year.
Yeah.
We had insurance for, I don't know, however many years, and we weren't paying that. It was a good price, but last year it went up more than 5 times. And so, yeah. So, and I don't want to do this stuff without insurance. Right. So, we've kind of had to increase our prices, but I also try to help people out because we're mainly about the education. If I can reach a bunch of people, I'd rather do that. And so, especially for like the libraries, if it's one branch, or if it's one, like say the Shreve Memorial Libraries, they've got several different branches. If I could do 10 of them, I would rather do 10 at a lower cost than per branch than do just 3 of them. Just because
that makes sense.
You have to reach more people. So we do cut deals and stuff like that. And just to be perfectly honest with you, I honestly think that I've been underselling myself for several years. I could probably make a lot more than what I do, but like I said, we're mainly about the education, and I'd rather get out there and educate people than just charge them an arm and a leg for that kind of stuff. But as far as our rescues, though, we don't have set fees for our rescues either. We just go off of donations for that. So.
Well, I always figure it's tricky with both of those because you don't want to hit a price point where people are like, it's not worth it, because then you lose that chance to get in front of people. And then like with a rescue, you don't want to lose someone saying, I'll just kill it. It's easy. Yep. It's cheaper for me to kill it than for someone to come get it.
Exactly. Yeah. And then also a lot of pest control places. This is something I don't think I've ever really talked to anybody about this. You know, it's not something I really, get into too much, but a lot of pest control places, they're going to charge an arm and a leg just to come out. And then if they happen to see a snake, they'll either kill it or they'll charge even more to do that. And we understand, especially the last couple of years, people lost their jobs and stuff like that. So it gives me an opportunity again to save the snake, number one, but also to educate those people whenever I go out. And so it just, for me, it's another opportunity to do that, reaching out to those people, you know what I'm saying? And making that point of contact and actually changing their mind. So I've had a lot of people change their mind, especially after our presentations. I may talk to them a year later and they say, hey man, because of your presentation, I'm actually into snakes. I used to hate them, but now I love them. And we actually bought a pet snake now, so that's it for me. I would much rather change people's mind and educate people rather than do it for the money. I'm there for the people and the animals. So.
Well, it's an interesting thing between us and other countries. Cause like South Africa, Australia, they have folks who get paid to go remove snakes from places. Like you can call them up and they'll come remove a snake and then they expect to get paid. Whereas here, people are more likely to just kill it. It's weird to see countries where people are willing to call and pay for a service like that. Whereas, around here, a shovel is someone's first answer.
Yeah. And I hate that. We try to dispel all the myths and people tell me all the time, well, I've got kids in my house and this and that. Well, do you teach your kid to look both ways before you cross the street? Yeah. Do you teach your kid not to talk to strangers? You teach your kids safety from when they were pretty much born. So you need to learn to teach them about snake safety and learn to respect the animal and things like that. You respect dogs, you respect cats. Why not snakes? And so I just think it's a whole, it's a big thing that's just passed down from generation to generation. And that fear just keeps getting passed down. And we want to stop that as soon as we can and try to change people's minds with it.
Well, that's why your programs stuff can get to the kids, right? Mm-hmm. Those are the ones that you can try and get them. I made a post earlier over on our Facebook page asking, hold on, let me find it. It says, how many of y'all remember that person bringing how many of y'all had that person bring reptiles to your school as a kid And what do you remember the most about it? Because there's a meme that goes around every now and then. Goes, who was that guy that brought snakes to our school? And
Yeah.
I'm just
I
like,
don't ever remember that.
that's to say that would be. Stephen, I remember it was 5th grade when someone did it.
Yeah.
And I remember them doing that. And there were several people on here who commented that they had that same experience and they remember that happening. And it's funny, you think back to then, like, first off, how'd they find that person in 1995 or whatever? And how did they say, yeah, no, that's cool. We can let you bring in this 15-foot berm and this alligator. And like, you just wonder how that talk went. It's a different age now.
Yep.
There's so many ways to check it. And I can't imagine there was insurance for that kind of stuff back then.
Maybe.
I just don't think
Probably
some of them
not.
had it. But it's a weird thing.
Yeah, I mean, now you can check out somebody's website or their social media. You can see what they do. You've got picture proof of what they do. But yeah, back then, man, you didn't have anything. It was all word of mouth. You know?
Yeah, and some dude showed up in a van with some snakes and invited kids to come up and help hold the Burmese python so everybody could freak out and scream.
Yeah. Wow.
Different world. Now they kill that person who just walked in. Hey, let me come in your school and show some snakes without like having a whole Facebook and having everything else. And
yeah.
Times changed.
But so on top of this, the one thing I want to talk about is your hot sauces, because I haven't tried them yet, and I want to. I'll have to order some and try them. You've got how many flavors now?
We've got 6 different flavors.
6 different flavors.
So
do you make these yourself?
So no, I worked with a professional chef on it. So let me say this. This is, I don't know why, but a lot of people get confused about the hot sauce. They don't understand snakes and hot sauce. So so first of all, I keep venomous snakes, right?
And there's no venom in the hot sauces.
You're right. And no venom and no snake.
No, they think that.
Huh?
Oh, they actually think that.
Yeah, they think that.
Gosh, y'all.
Snake meat in there. And so I don't know.
No snakes were used when making the hot sauce.
Right.
Gosh.
So venomous snakes are considered hot snakes, and I love hot sauce. I've got cabinets full of hot sauce, so I figured, look, I love hot sauce. I keep venomous snakes, so hot snakes and hot sauce. So we tailored the heat levels and flavors to the type of snakes. So you start out, the litmus is the copperhead. Heat level, it's about a 3 out of 10. Got pig snake, cottonmouth, and canebrake rattlesnake. They're all 5 to 6 out of 10. You got a coral snake, which is an 8 out of 10. And then you got the polyvalent antivenom. Of course, antivenom's got to be stronger than venom, right? So we made that one an 11 out of 10. So that's our hottest one.
Cool.
Yeah.
James did a hot sauce challenge one time. We were in college, and he had to.
No, we weren't in college.
We weren't in college.
No, it was after college.
Was it?
Yeah, because it was in Baton Rouge.
He had to sign a waiver, and they put this
little
bitty
extracts.
drops on a toothpick. I thought he was gonna puke in the parking
It was an
lot.
extract, and I'd never do it again. I did it once.
It was so bad.
It was one of the worst things I've ever done.
It was so
and
bad.
they're smart because they sell milk, and that's where they make all their fucking money. Is you buy
milk.
shit tons of milk and ice cream, and it was miserable.
Who did that with you?
No one. It was me and you at the beef jerky place in Baton Rouge by ourselves.
Somebody else was with
You
us.
thought wrong. Your brain's wrong.
They used to have the best peanut butter with chocolate chips.
At the beef jerky outlet
in Baton Rouge.
It wasn't in Baton Rouge. It was where Bass Pro is.
Denham Springs.
Denham Springs.
Okay. Anyways, I digress.
So, well, our hot. Now, look, some people, it's subjective, right? I've had some people think that the copperhead is actually hotter than some of the, and that's, I think, because we put black pepper on. But to me, it's, the 11 out of 10 for the polyvalent venom is not hot. I'm hot sauce though, but that's the heat with the flavor. So we did a straight up heat with everything. So yeah, it's got a lot of flavor to it too. People are actually surprised when they try it, and it's actually got some flavor. I should have at this last weekend we had Herps come, and I actually had Dax and some other guys try it, and I should have videoed all of that. I really honestly should have videoed all that. It was hilarious.
Yeah,
so
I missed that. I would have loved to watch. It was just right next to me. He's like right around the corner. That show was so bad this weekend.
Was it? It was Sean Trimback maybe that had the peppers.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, he does.
That a bunch of Aw.
They came Saturday and Sunday.
Okay, I missed him. But they had
because they ended up
So
talking. Rick
I just
ended up-
messaged our kid and email messaged mom. You need to maybe tap the brakes on internet usage. I think that's why we're having our internet's been ever since the power went out today. Our internet's been all weird, and so Steve sounds like a robot through some of this. I think it might be our internet.
they
I hope it turns out okay.
I'll be fine.
they talked Rick into buying a porcupine, African porcupine.
Is that the one?
Mention that.
Oh, that's the one that
Doug, yeah.
Doug was holding.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Douglas Ray White needs a porcupine to go with his emu.
Well, no, Doug does not need one. Rick got one for the zoo.
That'd be cool. So I was looking at the hot sauces. You need to put together like a pack where they all come together. Like you can order all of them. That'd be neat. So I know that when I listen to the guys on Herpculture podcast, they like the cottonmouth one.
Yep.
I may have to try that. But yeah, I always thought it was interesting. But you use that, and there's a lot of other things on your site that people can go and buy. The one thing I did like, and I guess it only really fits to people that live in a small part of Louisiana, was your version of the Straight Outta Compton shirts.
Oh, right,
But
yeah.
it's Snakes Outta and it's 318 at the bottom.
cute.
And if you're not from there, it doesn't make any sense to you. But
No.
Right. So 318 is the area code here.
We used to live in Alexandria.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's actually so snakes out of 318. Number one, we do rescues. We take snakes out of our home because we do the present test. We take snakes out of you. So it's actually twofold. So that's what the snakes out of 318 is.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Are you just like surfing his
I was
website?
looking on his website.
I was just doing the same thing.
Y'all are a mess.
What?
Well, I'm kind of curious. A lot of feedback. If you're looking at Alex page, what do you think that I just with?
We lost you through. We're losing you through most of
He
it.
wants feedback on this page. What do you think?
I think the page is good. I looked through. I was looking through it earlier when I was not busy at my internship. I liked the pictures of all the native stuff because if you go through the gallery, it's got a lot of pictures of native stuff, which is always good because there's not enough native animal. Oops, he completely.
I was gonna say, I think we lost him. Are you sure it's our internet?
I don't know.
I'm still both,
Let's see,
and I'm still hearing it.
he's just going in and out. Sounds like a robot.
I don't know.
It may be our internet. I don't
It
know.
could be ours. We've had a couple storms the last couple of days, and
Shit, they
Then
got
our-
storms out there.
then our power just randomly went out for no reason. So that was fun.
You know the
So, everybody and us both very clear.
Couldn't hear any of that. Hold on. Let's see if I can try and hardwire this thing and see if it'll work. Computers kill me now because they don't have
mhm.
the Cat
The
5
actual
hookup for
plugs,
internet.
yeah.
So you have to do it all through.
I think mine does. It does. Right.
Does it?
There.
Let's see if this
Yours
is
doesn't.
any better.
Yeah. Did you see the thing the Texas Reliability Council put out? I recommend that we keep our houses on 85.
They've
Do
lost.
they really?
their
Well, I
minds.
recommend they shut the fuck up.
Yeah, pretty much.
I keep my house on
I
85.
don't even think mine goes up to 85. It's never been up to 85, so
I don't
House at
keep.
80.
yep. They're trying to avoid rolling brownouts.
The only time my house has ever been that hot is when our air conditioner has been broken.
Yeah.
That's it. So
Can you guys?
It's still going in and out. I'm trying to see if it's our internet or not.
Wow.
that's what it say.
Like I said, I see both pictures clearly, and I can still hear everybody.
We got you for now.
Yeah.
We're good now. You know,
So you heard.
Oh.
So, like I said, I see everybody clearly, and I can hear everybody very clearly. So
Yeah, we just heard all that with no breakup. So
Yeah,
Yep.
and our videos are caught back up. I say I turned
Okay.
I
the
think it's hit or miss.
yeah.
okay, so I was curious. I asked, what you guys? I made those like 5 or 6 brand new shirts, like the Moccasin Misfits and the Rattlesnake Rascals and stuff like that. I was kind of curious what you guys thought about those because I haven't gotten a lot of feedback on those yet.
Let's see. The Rattlesnake Rascals. I see that one. I like that.
Those are cute.
Moccasin Misfits,
Python
yeah, the
punks.
Hognose Hooligans.
I'm going through them. That I like the Moccasin. That's a pretty good one. I like
Yeah.
them.
Those are cool.
curious because I haven't gotten a lot of feedback, so I was kind of curious what other people thought about him.
I don't know, and it may just be his computer screen, but that one that you just clicked on, which is that one?
That's the hog nose.
It almost seems like the snake might blend in with the black shirt.
Oh, okay. All right.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe not. It may just be his computer screen.
That's what you get. That's what you get for moving away from Louisiana.
I know. I don't know. Our internet sucked there too.
That's true.
We had Suddenlink.
God, I hate
So
Suddenlink.
I want to talk about something we talked about before we went live with the podcast.
Yep, go ahead.
I want to get in. You and I were talking about the rules here in Louisiana, and you know, you can mention your little experience, but I do want to throw this out because I get into, I don't want to say arguments, I guess kind of sort of arguments with people. So you and I were talking. So there's a restricted snake permit through Wildlife and Fisheries through the state, and that covers the venomous and constrictors over 8 feet. And then here I'm in Caddo Parish, and each parish here is different. So Caddo Parish, I've got my permits through them also. It allows me to keep everything. But Bossier Parish, which is the parish right next to us, does not allow any snakes. They do not issue permits. And they've actually called me several times because they have seized pets, snakes from people.
Wow.
And so, so it causes a lot of confusion here. And like I said, it's borderline arguments that I've gotten into with people because they don't understand the laws. And I understand it's very confusing. But now you mentioned some stuff to me before the podcast that I kind of want, if you don't mind, if you could share it with us again.
Well, there's a couple things. Like, so I know that I'm talking with Sean Gray from Herps, because he has to deal with a lot of the legalities when having shows in Texas and Louisiana, is that we have done shows in places where the parish has certain laws, but the show has been allowed to happen because the state trumps the parish law. And if there's any issues, he's talked to the state and said, yeah, you're fine. Even if, do you know any example in New Orleans? That was one.
Well, that show wasn't in New Orleans, and that parish was okay, but it changed. That parish law changed. So it should be that a county or parish can be more restrictive than the state, but not less restrictive than the state. I don't know that I necessarily believe that when someone tells me that the state laws trump parish laws, because it's not like that anywhere else in the country.
I know that's what I've been told, but so that's why I know here in Texas, that's definitely not how it is. The county laws definitely trump state laws.
When we learned constitutional law in the police academy, it wasn't just state law we learned, it was federal law we learned too. And it was always federal law can be a certain, state law can be more restrictive, not less. Local law can be more restrictive than state and federal, but not less.
That makes sense.
So
yeah, then it would make sense that up there, I know up there is a pain in the butt. And like I said, with shows before, because
they definitely went around Saturday morning and got their $50 from every vendor.
Yeah. Did you have to have one since you didn't have animals?
No.
Okay, so it was only animals.
No, she came over to me and I was like, I don't have animals. And she was like, you sure? I was like,
yeah, I'm pretty fucking sure.
I didn't bring any animals with me. And okay, there's no animals in these cages? No. What about these axolotls? I was like, that's not me. That's actually cutie. She was right next to me. I was like,
So
where are they at? I don't know.
So I'll just throw that out there. That lady that works for Animal Control, Caddo Parish Animal Control, she actually comes out to my place every year to inspect my place to issue my permits.
She was really nice.
She's kind of cool. She doesn't really like snakes too much, but she's got, I don't know, maybe I've kind of worked her down a little bit. She's a little bit more cool about it. And that's kind of one thing that I'm kind of thankful for is somewhere down the line. I can't tell you how it happened, but I did hook up with Animal Control. So now, you know, they're too busy with dogs and cats a lot of times. So they'll just, their dispatch will send me out for all the snakes. And so
That's cool.
Yeah. So I was able to hook up with them. And like I said, I've done presentations for them the last several years. Especially when they get new people in, I'll come out and do a presentation and show off a lot of the local stuff, so they can get familiar with it. So she's actually pretty cool. Like I said, she's come out to my place several times to take pictures of everything, and of course she has a list of everything I keep and all that stuff. So
when you do presentations for them, do you go, this is a rat snake?
Yeah.
You're going to see this most of the time. It's not a copperhead. It's not a rattlesnake. It's a rat snake.
Yep. Yeah, and those I think I mentioned. I don't think I mentioned it on when we went live, but I know you and I talked about it. I do tailor my presentations to who we're talking to. Did I mention this already?
No, go ahead.
So if I'm talking to like first responders or doctors or nurses, and even the animal control people, I'll bring the venomous, and I'll go more into the snake bites, first aid treatment, that kind of thing. But I hold the venomous up side by side with the non-venomous to show them the differences. So it all depends on who I'm talking to. But when I do it for animal control, yeah, I'll take the venomous and I'll hold those up next to a rat snake or a king snake or something and show them, hey, this is what they look like side by side. It's pretty easy to learn once you actually look at them and pay attention to what you're looking at. It's pretty easy to learn which ones are venomous and which ones are not. So
I will say, for anyone that's never had to do those kinds of presentations or any sort of presentation to general public, it's like that. The patience it takes with certain questions.
Oh yeah,
it's a lot, and
yeah.
I know on here I cuss and I seem very animated, but I can put on a fake smile when someone's being stupid. But I drive to people like, there's no such thing as a dumb question. Bullshit. The number one, can it bite, is a dumb question. Can it bite's a dumb question. I don't care what anybody says. That's a dumb question. And usually it's not what they actually mean. It's just their brain goes to simplest question possible when in reality they mean, if it bites me, will I die? That's what they really mean.
Yeah. And like, especially like today when I had to do 8 back-to-back presentations, the same questions over and over and over. So yeah, I understand what
Yeah. The one though that I always get, that it's not, this is not a dumb question, but there's just not an easy answer to it. And so I see it all the time on Facebook, and then people, Facebook answers always become people yelling at each other, but is the whole, how can you tell a venomous snake from a non-venomous? And I'm always like, you got to learn them. There's no simple rule I can tell you. There's no simple thing where I can say it does this.
But so many people want the easy.
They're always like, if it swims on top of the water, it's venomous. Well, that's a stupid fucking answer. And then they want to start giving you rhymes for coral snakes, which doesn't work all the time.
Yep.
Especially here where we live.
Yeah, where we have black ones that live in.
Well, that's as far as that one, I've actually, when people bring that up, I've got those pictures of the snakes that break that rule, like the Texas longnose snake or the all black coral snakes or the all red one. I'll show them. I'll say you can use that as a general rule, but you cannot always go by that. And then I'll show them all those other pictures and say all of these break that rule, so you can't always go by that. Yeah. So as far as those stupid, quote unquote, stupid questions, I do the best. It goes along with that patience that you were talking about, man. You kind of have to bite your tongue and go with it. But I try to, I always talk about the head, the triangle, diamond shaped head, the rat snakes and water snakes, flatten them out.
Every pissed off in the rodeo is going to look venomous there.
Yeah. And then, of course, the pupils dilate in a low light situation. So they look round. The coral snakes have round pupils. So.
And how close are you getting to a fucking snake to look at its eyes?
Right.
Exactly. I do that too. I'll grab a rat snake and I'll hold it up. I say, do you want to get this close to look at it? No, nope. Get that close to look at it. So
I had a lady the other day trying to tell me that the reason that their head is diamond shaped is because they store the venom in their jaws. And I was like, no, that's not how it works. And she was like, yes, it is. If they have fat cheeks, it's because they store it in their jaws.
Well, I got fat cheeks, so what's
that
that say about me?
I said, that logic, and I put that in quotations, then I'm venomous.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. So you saying my red tail boas are venomous?
Yeah.
Shit, I gotta watch out for those guys.
Yeah, don't call them red tails. People yell at you.
And it's funny too, when I tell them at the beginning of the presentation, especially like, well, if I'm doing for schools, I'll tell them, look, I have venomous, but I did not bring any today. And then I'll start holding up snakes. I'm like, okay, well, what is this? To get their minds. I try to ask them questions, get their minds going, get them to think a little bit. And they're always named king cobra. That's a king cobra. That's a viper. That's like, look, I just told you I didn't bring any venomous today.
What's crazy though? So as a 3rd grade teacher, they don't know. They're just naming snakes that they're familiar with. They don't know whether or not.
Yes, but I teach high school, and I will take snakes like corn snakes and hold it, and they'll go, "Wait a minute, is that thing venomous?" I'm like, "I'm holding it. What is?"
Okay, well, I teach 8-year-olds. So...
I teach more.
If they're on YouTube, they're used to seeing people hold venomous.
That is true. That is true.
So yeah.
I like my dad's answer. If it bites you and you die, chances are it's venomous.
Yeah. If you don't get in touch with Spencer Green fast enough.
Spencer Green is up to bite 49.
No way. I thought he was just at 48.
No, he's at 49, but he won't tell anybody what 49 was.
Yeah, he made a big deal about it. He made another post. If I say snake bite,
Must be it.
and why are you saying something else other than snake?
Oh, yes.
It must have been a captive bite.
That's what it's got to be a non-native captive bite. It's got to be what it is. That's why I can't say anything.
Yeah.
So now we just got to wait until someone we know tells a story about somebody they know they got bit. So I'm sure it will come. But yeah, 49 bites by June is insane.
Pretty crazy.
It's not even the end. Oh, yeah, that one was 49.
Yeah.
I was Facebook stalking him.
I love that like so many people know Spencer Green's Facebook and just you can see how many bites somebody knows it's Spencer.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So I want to throw this out too because I don't know who else is listening. So I do want to throw this out that we talked about the permits. I do have the permits through Wildlife and Fisheries, and I do have the permits through Caddo Parish Animal Control. So I've got both of them. And people ask me all the time about if I carry my own anti-venom or if I milk my own snakes. And of course, no. You've got to go through the Red Cross, the FDA. I can't get a doctor to sponsor me. I can't get a doctor to sign off on that IND paperwork. I'm still working on that, but it's been a hassle for me.
Yeah.
But I've got all of those labels. I can't remember the company, and I don't know if I should push the company's name if I remember it. I don't know how you guys work with that, but
okay.
all of those, the labels with the pictures of the snakes and the names and all that. And so they've got the types of venom and the type of anti-venom. I've got those Velcroed on all the cages. And then I've got those bite protocol books from Joe Pittman. And so I've got all that right by the door. And so if in the event anything happened, you just tear the label off the cage, you take that notebook with you and go to the hospital. Now I'm less than 10 minutes away from LSU or Ochsner. And the leading toxicologist here in Louisiana is Dr. Thomas Arnold, and that's where he works. And I've talked to him several times. He knows what I have. He knows what I keep. So I've got that resource there, and I've got everything available. So I do take precautions with all that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, and I do have those. I know they don't say they're bite proof, but those venom defender gloves, and I use all my hooks and tongs. I don't do the free handling and all that stuff. So I do want to throw all that out there that I do take special precautions with the venomous too. So
just in case anybody's wondering, I was Facebook stalking Dr. Spencer Green. And someone 12 hours ago said, on behalf of all of us, please tell us what the snake was for number 49. And his response was, in all capital letters, read the case report that will hopefully be published sometime in 2023. After we have to write it up and find out what ultimately happens with this particular patient.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a
was like,
non-native bite of something.
Yeah, if he won't. And then he gets a little sassy.
I'm going monocle cobra.
Somebody was like, can we get it sounds like or rhymes with or even the country of origin? And his response was, it rhymes with none of anyone's fucking business. I was like, oh, okay then. We got a little sassy today.
wow.
That's got
to be something that somebody had in their house.
No, I'm going with cobra. And I'm going with monocle cobra because it's like the most common one for people to get.
It sounds like, just in my interactions with Dr. Green over the years, it sounds like he may be treating a bite of something he's never treated before. And I guarantee he's treated a monocle.
That's true. Yeah, treated a monocle cobra. So now I gotta think even weird. I gotta imagine he's done a gaboon viper because they're fairly common.
Yeah, I know he's done a gaboon because I know someone he did it on.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
So,
damn.
Yeah. I mean, I know someone recently got bit by a puff adder, but I don't even think he went to the hospital.
No, his hand got puffy.
Yeah, you saw it.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't puff adder.
I do not understand people that would not go to the hospital.
Didn't he get? I thought he got bit by. I'm talking. Didn't he get bit by the death adder, or was it the puff adder?
It was one of them.
I know there were death adders at that show.
Yeah, but that wouldn't. He didn't get the show.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Yeah, those death adders look amazing.
There was
They look like they're freaking knitted.
Death adders are freaking.
What's that snake bite Facebook group that y'all added me to?
That
nobody's allowed to comment on anything.
Snake
So there was a woman.
There's 3 people allowed to comment in there.
Right. So, anyways, there was a woman the other day that posted her husband had gotten bit out in the yard and he was refusing to go to the hospital, and she was asking what they should do. And the person in charge was like, take him to the hospital.
It's Spencer and like 2 other people.
This was a woman.
It's always Spencer.
And I was like, he doesn't want to go to the hospital. Like, let's just cut your leg off at home then.
You'll see a lot of venomous.
When they start getting argumentative with Dr. Green, I love it because he'll basically tell them, well, just fucking lay down and die then.
Yeah.
That's basically the response that he's like, if you're not going to listen to us,
No.
why are you wasting our
The
time?
best was when someone said they didn't need someone,
Some Facebook experts.
some Facebook expert telling them what to do. I'm like, that. No, he's the expert. He's not the Facebook expert.
He just happens to also be on Facebook.
Yeah. So so you guys are outside of Houston now. Is that what you said?
Yes.
So did you guys ever go to the Venom conferences there?
No.
We were out of town last year.
I think
when
we
it
had
was
a
in Houston,
show.
or we were at a show maybe.
See, I actually had a table set up there last year. You guys should have come.
I know we had a show because we had Sean Gray
We were
on.
in Slidell.
Yeah, we were at Slidell at a show.
Okay.
That's right, because he had to send somebody to work the table for him.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah,
And we actually had snakes to sell.
we've tried to go every year they've had it. I think this year they're doing it in Denver and they're not doing it. So we're I keep trying to get him to do it here, but he's I don't know, does what he does, you know what I mean? But we don't mind. Every time it's in Houston we go though. So it's a lot of fun. I like it a lot.
I'm definitely going next time.
We had somebody on,
We talked to Ben German from the Strictly Snakebite Foundation.
and Ben was telling us about a Venom Week that they do in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
So that sounded pretty cool. It's going to be the beginning of June next year, but we don't have specific dates, or in June of 2024.
Yeah. So, anyways, venomous stuff. Venomous is fun.
Mm-hmm.
Until you get
Yeah, I hated missing last week. I was excited to
talk to Max and
Ben.
their trip to Africa.
Yeah, it was my idea to have him on.
I know, it was a
And
really
then,
great podcast.
You know how to run a business. Sometimes you have to go. I mean, pretty much all you do when you're on a business is fucking solve problems.
So, do you breed anything? I know you have so much going on. I don't even know if you have time to breed anything.
I don't purposely breed. We've had since. So like some of the wild caught rat snakes we keep together. So we've come in and seen eggs in the cage. Some of the Nerodia, the water snakes that we usually keep those together. Come in and see babies in there. There's two boas that we had together, and came in, I don't know, a month and a half, maybe 2 months ago. Came in, there were babies all in the cage. We didn't know that one was pregnant. So we've had a lot of happy accidents, but we don't purposely breed. So I think it would be neat to get into it, but it takes a lot of time and effort, which I don't have. So
Yeah, I was gonna say, you've got so much going on. You have your actual job, and then this, and then breeding would be a whole other. It's just it'd be way too much to try to keep up with.
Yeah.
One thing I haven't had a show since I became a famous breeder.
I know.
Oh my God.
Just for anybody out there, I hatched my first clutch of ball python eggs,
Sweet
which means
Jesus.
that I'm a millionaire now. I can basically retire. I'm also a snake expert now because I've hatched ball pythons.
Okay, so I got a question for you then, Mr. Snake Expert. I guess I missed out on all these memes. What is this new morph that they have that everybody's talking about? What is the big deal with this?
So the desert ghost.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Okay, so desert ghost has been around for a while, and we've had on here before. Dr. Ben Worrell of Rare Genetics Inc. has figured out some of how it works now. And so before, it was assumed that it was a simple recessive trait, and that if you bred a het to a normal one, you got some. If you had two hets together, you got some. Or bred a het to a desert ghost, you get some. Whatever. So what he realized is it's not one single gene. It's actually possibly 3 different genes, and you have to have all 3 of them together in order to get it. And so this is the reason why some people have bred hets to hets and gotten none, and they thought, oh, I either had bad odds or one of these is not a het. I gotta say. And so and he's trying to explain, well, you have to have all of these genes line up together. So now ball python people are flipping their shit, saying that the whole desert ghost thing is crashing and it's no good anymore, and this is horrible. And I'm like, all he did was simply tell you how the genetics work. It didn't change anything that has happened. It didn't change the gene that everybody already loved. So yeah, people just science happened, and people lost their shit when science happened.
You know what I don't like about John Gray's whole statement?
I completely missed that whole thing. I didn't understand any of it when people started making memes about it. So
yeah, that was their whole thing. And then the great thing was people telling him that he was doing this just to be able to sell genetics testing kits, and that he's not right. And I'm like,
and there were people trying to tell Justin that he's known this all along, and he was just selling those snakes to get rid of them, and but he knew, and he's like, I breed them and I make them.
The problem is Justin is breeding visuals to visuals at this point. So yes, he's producing hets that, I mean, it's not the same thing. So yeah, just people, it's always funny to watch people freak out when new science is presented and they want to go, no, that's not right. And I'm like, you're not.
Because they invested in it and they're not getting babies.
Which kills me. I'm like, if you like the way it looks, it changed absolutely nothing for you.
Right.
Now you just know that if you want to guarantee you do it, get visuals or get them tested by rare genetics to make sure that they carry all the genes you need it to carry, and your hets will work just fine.
Yeah.
And understand how the gene fucking works. But it's a polygenetic trait, and ball python people aren't used to polygenetic traits.
Right.
There are many other reptile groups that are used to them. And so now ball python people are
leopard geckos, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because I remember seeing a meme with like the whole with Franco, James Franco.
Oh yeah.
And it says ball python people finding out that desert ghost is polygenetic, and it's him, leopard gecko breeders, and it was like first time, huh?
Yeah. They it's just that shit always amazes me. It's because it's a huge group of people, and I say all the time, who barely passed high school biology and thought that they had the understanding of all of genetics, and then they realized, I don't understand this.
So our friend John Grant said he did that in 2008 for the first time.
Bred ball pythons.
13. So he's an OG ball python. You know what I don't like about that whole statement?
The fact that he was only 13 in 2008, and I feel really freaking old.
Yeah,
I had already graduated college and had a job by that point.
I'd been a cop for 8 years by that point.
Fuck you, John Grant.
That was the year
Get
before
older.
we got married.
Yeah. John Grant was a little kid.
God.
We're friends with a little kid.
Yeah.
John Grant. But
so
anyway,
I just showed James a photo. What I interrupted him a minute ago was some of the Louisiana pine snake with like 4 big giant eggs.
Ooh.
Which is a lot for a Louisiana pine.
Mm-hmm.
I know someone who had 11.
Really?
Theron had one with 11 once.
That's insane.
Yeah. One day my Louisiana pines will be big enough to breed, and I'll do it one time and then figure out what I'm going to do with the babies, because legally I don't.
You're going to give me one?
I'm going to have to give them all away.
I know a handful of people that are on that list.
Listen.
What was that, Steve?
I said I would take a couple of them. So
I live in the wrong state now, man.
I know it. So you got to move back.
We can hook you up with the guy we got ours from.
You get the eggs, and you take them to Steve and have them put them in his incubator and hatch them in Louisiana.
They were just eggs. I didn't take any snakes across state lines. Anyways, so going back to the ball pythons real quick, just I did something. So this is the first time I've ever bred ball pythons, and everybody knows I don't fucking like ball pythons. And everybody, I'm like, even though I'm telling people like I hatch these, I'm like, fucking I have ball pythons. I did a couple things I thought I'd never do. One, I thought I would never cut eggs. I was like, I'll never fucking cut eggs. Fucking if they don't make it, they don't make it. But these eggs were like over 50% sunken in. Everybody keeps going, well, that's what happens at the end. Yeah, no, this happened like 2 weeks in.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, well, your humidity's wrong. It was 99% humidity. I don't know what to tell you. Everybody's trying to tell me all the things I did wrong. I'm like, I did everything everyone told me to do. They still look like shit. 3 of the 5 eggs hatched. 1 egg, the baby almost fully formed, but didn't make it. And then the one that went rotten, he did not make it at all. There was a snake in there, but it was it was gross.
Can you hear me now, Sam? Is that better? I was getting a little far away from the mic. Or maybe he's just old.
He's old.
That's James's dad.
Dude, it was not a former Houston Texans player. Ryan Mallett drowned on a beach, and now another 45-year-old Cedric Killings died from pancreatic cancer.
It's also not a good day to be an actual Texans player.
It never is. Hasn't been in the 22 years we've been around.
But so anyways, I have 3 ball python babies. I think the 2 are inchy, and then 1 is normal. And I'm even going to sound like a dumber ball python breeder. I'm pretty sure they're het pied, so I'm definitely sure that I'm not definitely sure. I'm pretty sure the dad is who I think it is.
I know somewhere you can get them checked.
I do.
I said the same.
But they have those little
thing.
fucking markers on the belly that everybody freaks out about. The little lines. They have those, so they are. It's an inchy het pied. Which means that he's the dad, and I somehow had the worst fucking luck out of 5 eggs and to get 1 goddamn banana. That was my only goal.
None of even the dead ones weren't.
No, was to get 1 fucking banana, which should have been 50% of the clutch.
Don't be talking with all your fancy
Not a single fucking banana.
Genetics, numbers.
You know what? Ball pythons will just let you down. Forget ball pythons.
That make you go poor.
They make me want to pull my hair out. I did ask, so this I'll tie this into this and it kind of tie into what we're talking about. I asked people, so I can find the question where I posted it. I know I posted it somewhere. Why can I not find it? Give me a second. It's gonna happen.
Does the ancient cat pot a male or female?
I haven't sexed any of them.
I got kind of, while you're looking it up, I got kind of nervous because everybody flipped their laptops open. She had her phone up, and I was like, man, I'm going to get grilled like crazy.
No, that's just them. That's them every time. You're good.
And my daughter was also trying to melt chocolate downstairs, and I'm like, could we do this with adult supervision? Like, do you have to do this right now while we're on the podcast? And she's like, where does this go? Can I use this bowl in the microwave? And I'm like, why are we melting chocolate in the microwave? And this is totally
really?
how I keep up with my kid for 2 hours.
All the way from $75 to $250.
Yeah. How much for a normal head pod?
There's a $550. It's an adult.
Katie's like, so what are you gonna do with these? I'm like, I'm not gonna sell them. Like, I'll probably keep one ball python.
Joe loves them all.
And then we're not keeping 3 fucking 12. I can tell you that now.
Our daughter's so excited.
$30
She's 12.
to
So what you're saying?
$800.
So,
Who
what?
the fuck? This person literally has $800 on a het pie.
What?
Is it?
Let me see if it shits gold bricks.
Is it an ad from 15 years ago? It's
1,794 grams.
I don't know what that means.
It's an adult.
City. Okay.
They don't understand money.
Apparently.
Got it. Okay.
They must be pesos or something.
I did turn the internet off on my phone so that I didn't get fussed at.
I appreciate it.
I was also making.
There's someone who has one here for $267.
A normal head pod.
Yeah, but how did you come up with $267?
I was about to say that. That's
a really bad negotiator.
40.
Will you take 265?
Oh no, it's wrapped around eggs, so maybe they
Are they selling?
Oh, it's Canadian 350, approximately 266.59 American. Okay, once you click on it, it explains.
But it's still just a head pod, right?
It's still just a head
That's
pod.
an expensive.
But she's on
snake.
eggs, so.
So what you're saying is that I'm on a gold mine in there,
If you're in Canada.
or Oklahoma City, apparently.
I'm
But
thinking you're gonna
it's
be more than
only-
that $65 rate.
It's only worth it if there's an idiot willing to pay it.
Well, there's idiots, but I don't know if they're willing to pay that. I'm also not going to sell the ball. I'm going to gift those ball pythons away.
I still think we should see if there's any teachers out there that would like snake for their classroom.
That's a great idea.
Okay. I'm not selling them, though. That way I can at least be a ball python breeder and not a ball python seller. So that ties into one of the questions. I asked a question on our Facebook page because I wrangled Stephen to doing this late yesterday, so I didn't have time to force him to give a question like I do everybody else.
But our people turned out in droves.
I didn't want to corner him. I didn't want to corner with him with making up a discussion question, so I posted a couple. And I asked some people so I asked for some discussion questions. And we got some really good ones that I'm going to save and put out later as well because there's some good ones there I liked.
Good. That means you won't harass me and Robert.
No, I still will. Still. But there was one that it was for those that breed. What are your thoughts on egg-laying species versus live birth species?
Those had some good answers.
There's a couple things I think. So Steve talked about having like rat snakes laying eggs, someone finding eggs. The great thing there is if you don't want to have to incubate them, he can just get rid of the eggs. But you come in to Nerodia and then you find a whole pile of little bitey babies. No shit, you've got a little pile of bitey babies and you can't just get rid of them. I mean, you can. But
if you've got king snakes, just saying.
That is true. Go ahead.
Wait.
Oh no, we lost you again.
Oh, what?
We
snakes. What were you?
We got robot Steve again.
Oh goodness.
Oh.
No, don't say not yet. His video is still frozen. His video is still frozen. I mean, his voice is only going to come in clear for like 2 seconds and then be robot again. It's going to get our hopes up. So we got to wait for his video to clear up. So while I'm waiting on that, I'll read some of the results here that we got from some of the people. So Amanda Reddy, friend Amanda over at Reddy's Rainforest said, eggs give you time to prepare, but live birth is all done for you. But then less time to repair. They both have pros and cons.
Then you have to clean up after that live birth, though.
It's not bad. It's not bad. I will say though,
not bad.
I'm not
it's crazy gooey.
Yeah, it's awesome. I don't understand the negative.
It's awesome for you.
I don't understand the negative. But the time thing, I would disagree with. If I've got a boa that I know is pregnant, I've got like 4 months Whereas with the eggs, it's the same. I think you have time either way. Jason Milanovich said the majority of my animals are live birth. I've always gravitated that direction. I think it is probably more challenging than eggs if you're artificially incubating, but the benefits there is getting females back on food more quickly. I find live birth far less challenging. I didn't have to worry about my female shriveling up because of humidity issues. I love when the mom does all the work, and then I just get the babies. So I find it. So eggs have been a pain in the butt for me. Drew Scholl says I like pythons, best of both worlds with maternal incubation. That is true. If you've got to set up, you can do maternal. See, Jeremy Humper said we deal with both. There's so many pros and cons to both. That's a whole episode for sure. But for us, it's more about the joy of working with each species itself rather than in how it reproduces. Some species we work with all the colors and patterns, while others we work with the rarity, excitement, or to help others first-time pets. We deal with a variety of species, and every baby born is exciting, no matter if it comes from an egg or straight from a mom. And I get that. You don't have to pick your animal based on how it has babies. But
especially if you're not going to breed it.
Well, this was aimed at people for breeding. This was aimed at people that breed. But I find live birth to be much easier. Now, there are things you got to figure out. Like with my rainbow boa, there were several years there where I kept having bad litters from rainbow boas. But that's because she was in a rack system. And as soon as I moved her back into a cage where she could stretch out and probably heat up her body, I had a whole litter of live babies. So that is, you just got to figure out the snakes and figure out the animal where we're trying to breed. But I don't like eggs. This whole thing with the ball pythons, I don't like eggs. They were a pain in the butt.
But at least you finally got to use your incubator.
I did get to use my incubator, and I did produce ball pythons. I've got 3 of them. Me and Justin Kavilka are the same person. So.
Well, we lost Steve altogether.
Yeah, he's not there. So it's us.
Are you sure it's us?
Yeah, it knocked him off.
You don't.
I know to see that he's gone. But is it
okay? Wait, do you guys have me back?
Yes.
Okay, I just reset all of my stuff. Everything went blank. I couldn't hear anything. Couldn't see anybody. So
maybe it wasn't us.
Maybe not. Maybe not. But
maybe
okay. But everybody's got me now. So
yes.
So where did we leave off? So you were talking about the live versus the eggs, and you said one person said that you had more time. Yeah. And then you said one guy said that most of his stuff was live, and then that's where everything went blank.
Yeah, so he said that, like if you have eggs that you don't want to raise.
So Jason Milanovich said majority of his give live birth, but he thinks it's more challenging than eggs, and I disagreed. I said I think live birth is less challenging than eggs. But then I said the great thing about in Steve's situation when he's doing rescues, if something lays eggs and you don't want to have to deal with babies, you can just freeze the eggs and be done with them.
Feed them out to something.
Yeah, free them out. Yeah, if you got something to eat eggs. Whereas,
rats before.
Yeah. Whereas if you have like talk about your Nerodia, you walk in and all of a sudden there's a pile of live Nerodia. Now you have a whole pile of babies you got to take care of.
Or feed to a king snake.
Yeah.
He's not going to feed them to a king snake.
Well, so okay, so here's the deal. You guys threw out a lot of stuff.
We do that sometimes.
Okay, so my opinion, I prefer live over eggs. I don't like incubating them.
Yep.
I have always incubated all of the eggs that I've had. I've got a batch of buttermilk racers, and I've got a batch of what's the other batch I have?
That's cool.
You had me at buttermilk racers.
I don't think it's. Oh, I know what it was. Yeah, you guys. You saw it the other day. We had that egg-bound prairie king snake. So that prairie king snake laid a couple of eggs. So I've got some prairie king snakes and some buttermilk racers. I actually had two batches of buttermilk racer eggs. I caught. This is weird. This is something I have to explain in my presentations all the time. Snakes don't normally run in pairs or groups. But this last year, I actually found 2 pair of buttermilk racers. And I told the people when I caught them, this doesn't normally happen. I think it's a breeding pair. And sure enough, they laid eggs. So Randy actually took one batch of the eggs to his friend. I don't know where his friend is to hatch them out. And I've got one batch. And so I don't like incubating them. But rat snakes, king snakes, they're easy. You just put them in vermiculite or the hatcherite or whatever it is. And they're really easy. You just kind of leave them up where they can get a lot of heat and a lot of humidity, and they're good to go. I prefer
So
live
that's-
birth. Now,
That's what Michael was doing. Was I didn't ask y'all what y'all were doing. I just saw you holding the head of the snake and
Yeah.
Michael probing it, and I think Paul or somebody or Randy was holding it. I don't remember, somebody else was holding it right above the vent.
yeah. So
And,
it was actually, it was egg bound.
Okay, I didn't
so
even
it
ask
had-
what y'all were doing.
Yeah, so it had 2 eggs in there, and they weren't coming out, and I couldn't push them down any farther, so we had to pop them and push them out.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't want the
knew
snake dying, so
it definitely looked like y'all were doing more than just probing it by the look on
Yeah.
Michael's face, but I didn't want
Right.
to interrupt, and we stood there for a minute and then walked off.
yeah.
If
And
I
then,
that's what y'all were doing, I would have stayed longer.
yeah, as far as you mentioned feeding the water snakes to the king snakes, I have never had a king snake eat a water snake. I have tried, and I've never had it happen. So I don't know.
It smells that bad either.
Yeah, maybe it's the ones that I catch. I don't know, but for some reason, the king snakes, I have never had them eat the water snakes ever.
Maybe we're finding out king snakes don't eat. That's what we're finding out right now. King snakes don't eat water snakes.
I mean,
Although
And
now that I
I
think
don't-
about it, I've seen lots of pictures of king snakes eating snakes online, and it's never been a Neurodia species.
no,
That might
you're
be
right.
something. No, okay, so we've started something right now. We need somebody out there to do some kind of research.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe I need to do some kind of, it's not going to be extremely scientific. It's going to be very rudimentary, but maybe I can do some kind of experiments, I guess. It's all going to be wild caught stuff. But and I don't want to say I purposely tried. I'm not going to say it like that. But I have had king snakes and water snakes together, and they've never eaten them. But those king snakes were readily, I've had people kill copperheads before I was able to get there. I feed those off readily, the rat snakes readily to king snakes, no problems. But the water snakes, they've never eaten them. So
I can testify that Mexican black king snakes will eat ball pythons.
But will it eat Neurodia? See, now
that's
I need anybody listening, if you have had any experience with a snake eating a Neurodia or nasty ass smelling water snake of any sort, let us know. Now, I imagine a cottonmouth would, but cottonmouths already smell like shit anyway, so they probably don't care.
Well, our friend Kelly has video of a cottonmouth that her dogs killed in her yard that she threw over the fence and was rotten. Another cottonmouth eating it like 4 days later in the summer, and literally flies and maggots are coming off.
Yeah, so
That's
cottonmouths I
gross.
don't think count.
Yeah.
They already smell horrible. But
So
no.
yeah, so if anybody, I'm like you. If anybody else out there is listening or watches this later, that we need some research. So
All right. Well, here's a video of a king snake eating a water snake allegedly. I'll watch it. Let you know how it goes.
Gonna be eating like a rat snake, corn snake.
So when you do programs or when you're taking care of the animals, and we may have already discussed this, and if we did, I apologize. Do you have someone who helps you, or are you doing this by
It's a
yourself?
water moccasin.
yeah, so my wife always helps, or most of the time. I'll say most of the time because last year we had 3 presentations at the same time.
Goodness.
We were set up at a wildlife refuge here. I had a presentation at a library, and then we have something here called the Zombie Walk, and every year in October, and it's a really fun event. So we had 3 events going at one time. My kids used to help me out, but my oldest daughter, she just got married and graduated college, so she's off doing her own thing. And my other 2 kids are getting older, and they like to do their own thing now, so they don't really help out as much. So at least my wife helps.
My wife.
Hey, you better watch what you say.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's all these videos, but it's the only one. It says
Your
king
wife
snake
does a
eats
lot
water
for you.
snake, but it is definitely a water moccasin that is eating.
So there's nothing of king snakes eating Neurodia on there.
Not that I can find on YouTube right now.
I don't
We've
Okay.
started something.
Well, so here's the thing too. Let me throw this out there because I understand. Okay, as far as my social media, especially my YouTube, I'm not going to do stuff just for views and for likes. I'm not that kind of person. You know, I mentioned before that I'm all about the education, and so I don't do things for likes. And I know there's a lot of reptile people that get all bent out of shape when people post feeding videos.
No, there's one.
So I would try to do a feeding video. I would try to drop water snakes in with king snakes just to see if I can get it on camera. But I don't want the whole reptile community getting mad at me and getting all bent out of shape and stop following me because I post a feeding video.
I found a YouTube short of a guy feeding looks like a juvenile plain belly water snake to a Mexican black king snake, and it is eating it. But those two would never come across each other in the wild.
No, I found a couple pictures of speckleds eating what looks like a broadband, but one-off doesn't make a rule. Like if on average they don't eat water snakes, I wonder that's.
Here's a water moccasin eating a speckled king snake.
I saw one. It was a big cottonmouth, and like this little rattlesnake came by, and the big cottonmouth just took the rattlesnake.
So that's that eastern diamondback.
Yeah.
The cottonmouth eats the eastern diamondback. All the flies are around. Yeah. Super common video. Apparently that was a whole like setup thing too.
Was it really?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I would be very interested if you tried it out with. I mean, because you've got native kings and the native water snakes from that area. I'd be very interested to see if maybe there's a reason. One of the reasons they smell so fucking bad is it keeps them from getting eaten by not just birds and stuff, but by snakes as well.
Here's a
nerd that's a nice theory.
Yeah.
Here's a nerd feeding a live corn snake to a
king cobra,
but they said he would not eat frozen. They tried.
I don't. So, well, here's the thing. I don't mind someone feeding a snake to a snake. We're in a hobby where we have no problem having a freezer full of rats that were alive at one point that we're feeding to our snake. So there's no difference to me other than the fact that we like snakes. Like you're just feeding. So like I've done it with my king snakes when I have sand boa babies that just won't eat, and I'm like, all right, I'm not force feeding you. So if I have sand boa babies that go a while without eating, they're just not going to eat. They get fed off to the king snake. I don't feel bad about it. It's a food chain thing that happens. So especially in your case, a lot of stuff you're doing is rescued stuff. So if these two animals could have found each other in the wild. Like it's not the same thing as taking something from Africa going, hey, we'll eat this thing from Australia.
Yeah.
Right? So,
but it's still, I just don't like the fact that everybody gets all bent out of shape over that kind of thing. I understand it's a natural thing. I understand that all the reptile people do it. I guess I can understand where they're coming from when it says it kind of makes the reptile community look bad to people on the outside.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I have different viewpoints on a lot of things than a lot of people. So I don't want to get anybody mad at me now, right now.
It's funny as people have that produce normal or het ball pythons and go, we'll just feed those to cobras. You'll have no problem doing that.
So I'm the zoology club sponsor at our elementary school, and I have a box turtle that was gifted to me for my zoology club. And she's fabulous. I love her. But I took some of the, what were they, red wigglers? I bought them for fishing. They're fishing worms. But I took those to feed to her, and the kids loved it.
No, they were earthworms.
Earthworms, that's what it was.
They were the big earthworms.
And the kids loved it. They thought it was so cool because we talked about how box turtles are omnivores, and so they feed her the fruits and vegetables, and then we give her the protein every now and then. But I had one of my paras that walked by, like a teacher's aide, and she was not necessarily appalled, but she was definitely shocked that we were feeding an earthworm to a box turtle. I'm like, well, why do you think you find them in your garden? They're eating the bugs and
box
things out of your garden. I'm like,
carnivorous.
this is normal diet for her. She's like, but the worm is alive. I'm like, because I'll toss a couple crickets in, and she will chase down the crickets to catch them.
Mine loves pinky mice.
Oh yes, ours does as well.
I gave her one live once, and that shit was brutal.
Well, we did hornworms with her once, and it was entirely too messy, and we will never do that again. It was crazy.
She'll just grab it wherever she can bite it,
and then she shakes.
No, mine does. Claw
they tear.
And rips it open.
Oh, yeah.
And then chows down on the guts.
Oh, no, mine doesn't do that. Mine bites and then shakes.
And they say that, pinkies don't feel pain because it's not developed yet. Well, their little feet are going like this. So I'm thinking that maybe they do. So I'm not doing that anymore.
The problem is people look, I understand not wanting to see animals suffer. But at the same time, people need to be able to take the logical part of their brain and use that in situations as well, and understand that just because you didn't see the cow die to make your burger, it was a living thing.
It's funny that you say that, because one of the students, now granted I teach 8-year-olds, one of the students goes, well, you had fried chicken for lunch yesterday, and that used to be a live animal. And I'm like, okay, you can go sit down now.
See, that's a kid that gets it.
He told the other teacher that?
He told the teacher that, and I was just like, "Oh God."
See, his
Oh, my
logic,
kids will defend our animals
the
in a
logical part of his
heartbeat
brain.
to someone else. It's great.
So it's just I just don't get it. I don't understand why they can't use logic.
But
in
you
situations.
also would feed horse meat out to some of the crocodiles at the zoo where we worked.
And I totally wish we
And
used to have
we-
human grade horse meat.
And we would have that conversation frequently where, a lot of people would never do it. But
The rest of
you
the world
also,
does.
But you also will not eat reptiles.
Yeah, but I don't curse anybody that does.
Mm-mm.
I just can't bring myself to eat things that I cared for. So I can't do it.
Well, okay.
Just like I can understand them not selling horse, or someone not buying horse. I don't understand us as a country not selling horse.
Like not having it as an option.
Yes.
Well,
Okay.
they even went as far a few years ago of outlawing any horse slaughter in the U.S. So then all of a sudden, all these horses that had foundered, people couldn't take care of anymore. That this is like 2007. So in the 2008 economic crisis hit, all of a sudden you just had people turning horses loose. We dealt with it a lot in my city where I was a cop. You just find horses running loose, and nobody knew who they were because they couldn't take care of them. Because up to then, you had an old horse. I know it sounds horrible, but you could sell it to take it to auction, and there were people that would buy, horses that have as horses, but everybody knew who the buyer was for the meat market. He was there, and
Yeah.
when it didn't get any bids, he'd say $50 or $100, whatever. He'd buy them, and they outlawed it. So also, they had a lot of wild horses that came off the range, thousands of them, because they don't technically belong there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
But there's actually in parts of Louisiana, there's wild horses.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
now they all have to be adopted out. Well, I think they changed it a couple years ago because it got so bad that they've allowed a limited slaughter. So it was no slaughter in the U.S. They were going to Mexico, and then they made it where you couldn't export them to Mexico either.
I blame Mr. Ed.
I don't think most people even know who Mr. Ed is anymore.
No, but I blame that for it all started. Everybody's like, horses are cute. We can't eat horses.
I think for kids, like people our age,
So what-
younger than us.
Are you saying if we had a talking snake show, then that would change everybody's mind?
No, the Bible's done a pretty good job of making snakes sound horrible. Haven't overcome that.
Because I get that asked a lot in the presentations is if I've ever eaten snake. And I'll tell them
Yep.
I'm willing to try it. I've never had it. But
But
for one, I don't want somebody to kill a snake just for me to try it. And I'm not going to give up one of my pets.
Yeah.
So I'd be willing to try it, but those two conditions. So
I've eaten alligator before.
And I get it. Alligator's farmed.
alligator and frog legs. Yeah, I eat alligator.
I've eaten those.
I can't do it.
I've gone frogging before. Like I've actually gone out with my dad before. I was little. I don't think I actually did anything but shine a flashlight on them though, because I
How
don't
many
remember doing anything else.
We have watched this show.
What?
How many
How many
veggies have watched this show?
Oh, I don't know.
So really funny story.
They don't watch it twice.
I curse vegetarians.
So-
well, not vegetarian, vegans. Fuck vegans.
So I sent James a video. I don't know why I didn't send it to you too, Robert. I sent James a video last night, and it's this high school kid. His parents are sitting on the couch, and he comes in. He's like, "Mom, Dad, we need to talk." And they're like, "What's the matter?" And he's like, "I'm gay." And they're like, "That's okay. We'll love you no matter what.
Yeah,
just
we're
want you to be
accepting."
happy. It's a very accepting commercial. Then he goes, "I'm also vegan," and their faces drop and they stare at him. And she was like, "You have lost your mind," and she flips out on him. It was so funny. I was like, "This is you, James."
That would be
Hey, did you get your Old Bay?
We
No.
haven't gone yet. I'm
We're
going to
waiting
go
for payday.
tomorrow.
payday. And then we're going to empty
They're like
out.
$6 for a thing of them. That's what.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to empty out the place of
Yeah,
Old Bay
Josephine
goldfish.
wants me to buy all the Old Bay goldfish.
They're fucking amazing.
I was at that store yesterday and I saw James loves Old Bay everything.
Love Old Bay.
And I saw they had Old Bay goldfish. I took a picture and sent it to him, and I got a fuck yeah back in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
If it's,
And then it was both of them. And then the other next response was, "Katie, you need to go buy all of these."
if it's
And
fried, you can put Old Bay on it.
I hollered upstairs. I said, "Hey Joe, Mr. Robert found something at the grocery store that you might be interested that is back in stock." And she's like, "We have to go buy all the goldfish." She knew what it was. So,
But
That's a pie rattlesnake.
that's cool. But yeah, I could never eat a reptile. But again, I'm not going to be mad if someone else eats a reptile. That's the difference.
Exactly.
But again, the horse meat thing. When I used to feed that out to alligators, that shit looked amazing.
I had it in France.
Does it taste amazing?
Yeah, it was good. It's really
It's gotta be
good.
like deer. It's gotta be very lean.
My dad used to eat
They
it
were like bison. I don't know, but it's very lean.
in Canada.
Yeah, I would say it was closer to bison. It's really, really red.
Very red. Yeah.
I mean, it was good. It was neat.
Well,
Yeah.
if
Like
you
one of them.
put hot sauce all over it, right?
Right. Yeah, they don't have much hot sauce in France.
I've never eaten turtle. I don't think. I don't know. When I was a kid, if my parents told me it was chicken, I would pretty much eat it. So I'm sure I've eaten some weird shit and just not known it.
Never.
I was very trusting as a child.
That was the worst part about being a zookeeper in Louisiana, though, because as you know, Steve, in Louisiana they'll eat fucking anything.
They find it on the side of the road and they will.
And
eat
so
it.
when you're out there feeding alligator snapping turtles and alligators, all you get is every coon ass wanting to tell you the story, their recipe for how they cook this. So I'm like,
And now I don't think I could try the Nutri Rat. I don't think I could try that.
that's greasy. There's no way that's not
I
greasy.
tried that once too.
Oh,
My brother-in-law, the guy he owns the barbecue team, he cooks crazy shit all the time. He cooks some Nutri
It's stringy and greasy.
He made it like barbacoa tacos. It was
shredded?
No, it was shredded. It was all right.
I imagine it shreds pretty easy.
He made raccoon too. It was amazing. That's like I would request him to make raccoon.
Now I've heard people eat raccoon.
I've always wanted to try goat.
Go to a
That's
Middle
easy
Eastern
enough.
place.
Go right over here to El Regio. They
I
have it
know. I've always wanted to try
on
goat.
the menu.
We passed a food truck in New York that sold curried goat, and we didn't have
Yeah,
time
you
for
can go
it.
to-
It smelled so good, but I didn't have
there's
time to stop.
There's a restaurant here in Hillcroft. It's like 20 minutes from here called Cool Runnings. It's Jamaican. It's curry goat.
Oh,
But you understand
yes.
that curry goat is super spicy because they cook it with Scotch bonnet
You can
peppers.
find
Yeah.
shawarma goats.
So good.
What is Steve?
I was just gonna say I would try it. I'd like to try it. But
It's so good.
Goat looks good. I mean,
And they
goats
were
are-
on Diner Driving the Dive, so
Nice.
yeah, it's a good place. It's in the ghetto.
That's okay.
Lock your car.
So, all right. So speaking of locking
Car.
I
cars,
thought it was locked, and I didn't know my purse was
no,
there.
So Katie's car got broken. I'll say broken into. Katie's car got opened in front of our house at 5:30 in the morning the other day, and her wallet got stolen. And a neighbor found her wallet because we found our insurance card out by our pond in our neighborhood, and all the credit cards and debit cards. All they got out of us was like a Lyft drive, and then we got that money back from our bank.
Yeah, it was a $15 Lyft drive that cleared, but then when a $100 charge to Lyft was made, our bank was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
And so
They
I got a
tried to
text message and an email from Regions at the same time because I'm signed up for both. And before I responded to either, I confirmed that the fraud number on Regions' website was the same number in the text message and the email, which it was. So that's when I called.
So the whole reason I'm telling the story is not to bring up the fact that the car didn't get locked like it should have, but that when the cop came to take the statement and everything and was in the house,
It was a big guy.
he started looking around and then stopped Katie in the middle and said, "Wait, before we go any farther, what reptiles do you have in this house?"
Momentary panic.
So she
Let
freaked
me
out for a
tell you.
second after already being a house that's been searched by.
So my
law.
mom was in there, and my mom, she said all she could think in her head was, "Why do you need to go upstairs? There's no need for you to go upstairs in this house." And I'm like,
So come to find out,
yes.
that cop also has ball pythons.
Oh,
He's a reptile
Oh.
And
person.
What
he
department did it
breeds.
turn out you guys are here?
So we have to deal with Brazoria County Sheriff's
Okay, so I
Department.
was right.
And the guy felt awful because I actually drove out to the office in Angleton because the woman on the phone was
Yes, because
like,
we live in the largest county of Texas.
so yeah, it was like a 30-minute drive out there. And the guy there, the detective was like, "Oh, honey, why did you drive out here? We literally have a car 2 blocks from your house."
Yeah, right
And
there at the,
then-
substation.
And then when they came to the house, they were like, why did you go all the way out there? I'm like, the lady on the phone told me to do. I didn't know what else to do. I've never had to deal with this before.
But it's funny enough. That the guy,
because Katie called me while we were driving.
I
down
did.
to
To
Shreveport,
Shreveport.
and she was like, "Hey, so my purse got stolen last night."
I was like, who do I call?
Who do I call? And I was like, "Well, where you guys live is kind of weird,
Yeah.
because like literally, Iowa Colony has 7 different zip codes in the
Mhm.
city limits of Iowa Colony." So-
Yeah, and I'm
and it's
like,
tiny.
I'm one
It's just-
block over from being considered
which is
Manville.
where I live.
And it's just weird. And I was like, if anybody would know, Robert would know.
just
Call
leave,
Robert.
just leave a bunch of snake skin in your car, and nobody
Yeah.
would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's true.
Well, that's what I've always said. When I buy a new trailer, I'm gonna make a big decal for the side that says "Caution: Venomous Reptiles."
Yeah.
And then put it on there. But then I'm like, no, because then I'm gonna get searched by Fish and Wildlife.
Yeah.
That's actually one of the.
Yeah, but the
Snake
guy was
trailer.
funny because he was in the living room and he was like, "So what kind of reptiles do you have? Do you have any more?" And I realized he was getting like closer and closer to my kitchen, which is where all of my class pets are currently living. for the summer. And so I'm like, well, but we have a crested gecko that is normal. Like I started saying like what we had, and then I'm like, that's normally in my classroom, but it's summer. And I'm like, and then we have this, but it's also normally in my classroom because it's
She's like, there's nothing else in the house.
I'm like, oh my God, what is happening?
But we didn't have him like on the show.
Well, he was familiar. So he went to the Pearland Herp show, and he's been to the Conroe show several times. And like he's got a batch of ball python eggs that he's about to have to cut open because they're reaching a date past when they were supposed to, similar to what yours did. And
although I will say,
he may listen to this podcast because he made me write the podcast down before he left my house that day.
I do want to state one thing. I did cut my eggs, but what I did not do was finger fuck my eggs.
Oh my God.
I did not just now. I
cut them. Use this little like pointer tool to like poke it.
Well, I did poke them to make sure they were moving, to know they were alive. But what I did to finally get them to come out, because I'd cut the egg and they were in there for like 4 days and they're just not coming out. They'd stick their head up and they wouldn't come out like fuckers. So I sprayed them with water and they're like, oh, water? And then they all come shooting out of the eggs. Yep. So,
talking about people coming over your house. So we have a huge mural painted on the outside of our house that says Snaketuary with a bunch of snakes. I hired some for graffiti artists to paint it on the side of our house.
That's cool.
And so every time somebody comes over to work on the house, or even the mailman or the UPS, FedEx or whatever, when they come over, they see it. And so they're always asking questions. Now we've got some people that have, come to work on the plumbing or the air conditioner or whatever, and they only have certain people they'll send out to our house because everybody else for the company does not like snakes.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't care who you are. If you come to my house to work on my house or deliver something, I'm getting the snakes out and you're taking pictures with them. So I make sure every time, because they always ask about the mural. Hey man, what does that mean? Well, let me show you. Come on in.
Oh, God.
we had our cable installed. We switched over to Xfinity a couple years ago. The guy got to the door. I said, "Okay, man, I'm gonna ask you scared of snakes?" "No, sir, not at all. I love snakes." "Okay, just making sure." As soon as he walks in and goes in had to go in the dining room right there, and he sees all the boas, and he goes, "Oh, you mean snakes?" Like, yeah, because that's Doomer's boas right there. And then we went upstairs, and I was like, "Look, man, you're good. Just don't go in that room right there if they bother you at all." And he ended up holding a couple snakes, and he was super cool.
See, I told them when they got to the door, I'm like, look, my dog is probably going to go bananas as soon as she hears your voice because she doesn't know you. She's in her kennel. She's behind a closed door. Never made a freaking sound the whole time those two guys were here. I was like,
told her that. You know how many freaking houses I went into and people didn't tell me they had 3 big-ass dogs running around?
Yeah, no, I made sure she was up before
I'm sure
they
you've
got
dealt
here.
with it too, being a fireman.
Mm-hmm.
You go out to a medical call, and they're like, "Oh, by the way, we have 17 German Shepherds in the house." And they hate people. Yeah.
And they only eat man's testicles.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's also funny too when they come inside. They're like, "Okay, you got snakes," and then they see cages everywhere. They freak out how many cages, but then the rattlesnakes start rattling, and that what is that? Like, that's just the rattlesnakes. Where are they? Where are they? They start looking around. So yeah, it kind of shocks everybody.
Why do people always assume because you have all these reptiles, they're just loose in your house?
Right.
Like I don't get it. Like why would I just let 100 snakes roam loose in my house?
Yep,
For
they
real?
always do that too. They're like, "Hey, you just let them run around in your house?"
I know.
No,
Totally.
I told cobras and rattlesnakes and vipers. Why would I let that stuff just run around my house? No.
I don't even let my dog run loose around my house if I'm not here. She goes in her kennel so she doesn't destroy shit while I'm
Well, I mean,
gone.
we did have a guy here in Texas commit suicide with Cobra a couple years ago.
What?
That's a horrible way to commit suicide.
Turned it loose in his car, and then it got out of the car on the 290 outside of Austin. And
That's a horribly slow way to die.
I heard about the snakes. There was 2 incidents in Texas.
Yep.
One they were doing, somebody was buying some in a parking lot and it got out. And then later on they found one on the highway or something like that, but I didn't know
he got run over.
Car.
Yep, committed suicide. I think it was a monocle cobra or something like that. Well, did you hear about the guy this weekend that committed suicide at the San Antonio airport?
No.
He jumped into a plane.
What the
I
fuck?
did see that.
Yeah.
I did see that on Facebook, but I didn't click on the article.
He
It's
said,
quick.
"I'm going to be fucking infamous because people are going to talk about me."
It's quick.
Yeah. Jumped into a plane.
It's definitely quicker than a cobra death.
Yeah, they said multiple sharp force and blunt force injuries. You think?
You think? Was there any body left? So it's like the submarine folks. Like there was like a millisecond and they were dead. So like they didn't even.
Yeah, they said they probably knew it was coming though.
Yeah, but the actual pain, there was no pain. They said basically the speed it took for the thing to crumble and basically explode from the inside was faster than you could blink, and they were dead.
Yep, here it is. It was in 2015. His name was Grant Thompson.
Death by cobra.
Texas man commits suicide.
Fuck that.
A snake.
There's so many. I'll hear people sometimes say, they'll be joking around like, if I commit suicide, I'd jump into like a lion or a tiger enclosure. Fuck that. They play with you. They don't just like, it's not a quick death. If I'm committing suicide, I need a quick death.
It doesn't say, it just says it just says cobra. It was found several days later in a grass by a shopping area dead.
But I mean,
he also had 6 tarantulas, a bullfrog, and a non-venomous snake.
That means slowly his nervous system shut down.
He was bitten numerous times.
And then he's slowly suffocated to death.
I just want to find out. Oh, monocle. It was a monocle.
Fuck that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Anyways. So looking at some of the stuff over on our reptile.
Dark.
I know. On our podcast discussion group, Travis Wyman shared the thing over from Asclepius Snakebite Foundation, which was that bite from the stiletto snake. If you're not about to eat dinner, feel free to go over to that and look at the pictures.
So does it show you your pictures? Because on my Facebook, I had to click on the pictures.
I see it.
It told me this image may be too graphic for you.
Oh, it's fucking graphic.
And I had to click on the picture before it would ever show me what the image was, because I was a little afraid.
But what's crazy,
because I've never seen that before.
Most people don't think
such things too graphic.
Most people don't think of the stiletto snake like that, because when you're thinking Africa, you're thinking like puff adder, you're thinking gaboon viper, you're thinking cobras or mamas, and this fucking stiletto snake just rot this guy's thumb away.
Oh yeah, I know. I clicked on it and saw the image and was like, ooh.
Travis Wyman also posted a thing. It says snake genome reveals burrowing past and readaptation to surface life. I've seen that before, where they have evolved burrowing and surface life back. Like it's been a back and forth thing. It hasn't been a one-way evolution, which is kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, I saw that article. I didn't read that one though.
That's a neat one.
You and I both shared some brutal nature stuff today.
Yeah,
yours is the warthog eating the little
eating like an impala.
It's not an impala. It's
it's the little
gazelle.
Yeah.
I just shared one of the lion cubs' head sticking out the side of a dead buffalo, and he's just like taking a rest.
Yeah, the one I saw was this wildebeest walks up to a mom and her baby's sitting there laying on the ground. Warthog, and he's just like, I'm gonna fucking eat this thing.
Like she just had it.
Yeah.
Like it's still wet and just whacks it with a freaking tusk.
Lion King never showed me that. Lion King was never like, Puma was eating like grubs. He wasn't eating fucking impala.
He wasn't eating Timon, okay?
Yeah. At no point he was like, oh, yummy. I'm gonna eat so that was just crazy.
Lion King. I've never seen.
You've never seen Lion King?
I just saw it on Broadway and it was beautiful and I wept. But anybody who knows me is not surprised by that statement at all.
You gotta see Lion King. Good movie.
I will admit, I've never been a big Lion King fan.
Well, it's because you're wrong.
And I, the cartoon is okay. The remake was okay, but oh my god, watching.
This could be a completely other conversation, but I'm really into B-rated animal movies. All the kinds of really just stupid.
As long as it's not X-rated animal movies are good.
Yeah, no X-rated animal movies, and we're all good. So give me you got to give me an example of a movie you like.
Like King Cobra versus Komodo.
Oh,
all of those kind of crazy movies. Like I love. My wife hates it, but the movies from the 70s.
Oh yeah,
love that one. Swamp People.
Did you ever see Squirm?
Yes.
Love Squirm.
Yeah, all of the animal movies, man. If it's bats, the bat movies, the rats movies, the snake
frogs,
movies, all of them. Yeah. So
I used to collect bad horror movies.
Yes.
What is this thing y'all did Friday night?
We still have them.
What did we do Friday night?
With the Reddies and
that wasn't me.
That was me. The Reddies Rainforest wanted to have a chameleon. They really wanted to just vent about the selling of chameleon eggs and how some people that are selling chameleon eggs keep trying to say how it's a good thing.
They're wrong.
Yeah, they're wrong. And so it was the Reddies, myself,
not that we have opinions,
Dr. Rob Cook, and why is it escaping me?
I saw Dr. Rob last weekend.
Jonathan
from I feel horrible.
I cannot.
iPod Alice. Yes. iPod Alice. But Yeah, and so we talked, and because there's something selling. And we talked about it before on here with the Reddies, but they sell chameleon eggs for people. And there's two. When we talk about the two main reasons they sell chameleon eggs are the two things they use to sell chameleon eggs. One is the experience. You could have this experience where you could get this egg and raise your own baby and yada yada yada. That's not a great experience. For one, they're talking about those eggs. They could go like 2 years sometimes until they hatch. 18 months sometimes until they hatch. If they hatch, if you don't kill it, and then your experience if it hatches is now you have a baby chameleon, which is like one of the most fragile fucking things to try and take care of. And then the price. They try to sell them on it being cheaper, which it totally is not cheaper to buy a baby and then have to buy 3 different cages as it grows. Whereas our large chameleon back here, we were able to buy 1 cage and it went in it. So
And he was almost a year old when we got him.
I just saw the stiletto stick stuff.
it's gross.
So, no, basically the Reddies they had a bunch of questions about like the platform that we use and this and the other. And James was
so
like,
yeah,
why
so
don't you just use
I hosted it
ours?
for him.
And so, yeah. I only showed up when he took my chameleon out to play with.
Jason Miloranovich posted this article from CBS News. Says anaconda escapes woman's Wisconsin home before being wrangled by deputies, and it's a red-tailed boa.
Yeah, and I love Megyn Kelly's thing, like
yeah.
girl, the buck teeth, like looking around, like okay.
I know. I need Megyn Kelly to find me that kind of anaconda. She's the anaconda person, and I haven't seen her breed one of these yet. So
Yeah, you said you got to do the red-tailed anaconda. Yeah, they're the most common morph.
that's all I need. That's like
Every time I do a news article or something, I've had them not misquote me. I guess technically it's misquoting, but they won't put all the information in, or they'll leave half of it out, and it just sometimes it makes me sound stupid. Like one of the big ones was when they were talking about, and this has gone on the last 2 or 3 years here, about copperhead smelling like cucumbers.
fuck.
And they repost that stuff, and they've done so many interviews with me, but they don't post all the information. They leave it all out. And so I had to just go do my own YouTube video on it because people were looking at me saying, "Oh, you're wrong. You're not giving the correct information." Even herpetologists,
But
even
you are.
So it's kind of like, no, you just misunderstood what I said. They didn't put all of that information in there. And so I try to make it to a point. Look, if you're going to do an article on me, you better put the right pictures on there. I have them do B-roll. I have them take pictures of my snakes that are at my place because I don't want the incorrect information. And they'll even call me several times afterwards to make sure they label those snakes correctly. Because I'm a stickler on that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? I
That's
don't want
really great.
and then me say, okay, well this kind of snake, and show a different picture.
You
That
can't
makes
stop while he's talking.
so.
Sorry.
You didn't hear any of that?
No, we heard it.
No, you're good.
Oh, okay.
My biggest thing is watching shows, and so I watch Naked and Afraid, and they're the number one person or number one show to put the wrong fucking snake. The other day I'm watching
You
it.
messaged just the other night.
They're in Africa, and they just show some B-roll of a boa crawling across the ground. I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, you couldn't find one African snake
right
to just put some B-roll of there.
I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of B-roll video of ball python somewhere.
So just fucking ball python sitting on a lump. That's going through our discussion page. Nathan Holcomb, one of our listeners, was up at the Grant's shop in Oklahoma.
And they weren't.
They were not there. They're in Texas now. So he was visiting a shop that they're not at. Sorry, Nathan, you didn't get to meet the Grants. They are now in Texas. They have seen the light and moved away from Oklahoma.
What the dude getting shit on by the freaking monitors?
I saw that video.
Oh my God.
There's a video. Is that posted on our thing?
Yeah, Nathan posted it too.
Oh God! So there's this old dude who's it's handed a
obviously in like a church.
So
yeah, it looks like a church. He gets handed like a black throat or something.
So the caption of the video is like, "We're gonna get Dad to hold this big lizard," and it's huge. Like it's like the size of his torso.
It's like a full-grown black throat, and as soon as he gets it, it just shits right on.
Oh, yeah. He tries to like hold
and
it
all
out
over
from him a little
all over
bit,
that
but
obvious church carpet.
It's a church carpet, 100%.
Oh, that was great. Man. He's smiling, laughing.
He was laughing about
I
it.
don't think the smell hit him.
I'd say the smell hasn't gotten there. A couple of things to see. Oh, Travis posted this thing about this little lizard being found in Australia that they thought was extinct. That was kind of cool.
Oh, there was an article. I don't think I shared it, but I got it in my email from Reptiles Magazine. There was an American crocodile that laid a bunch of eggs through parthenogenesis. Which was
Yeah,
cool.
that's bad. Went around. Yeah, that was a new thing. Nathan Holcomb posted a picture from the zoo in Tulsa. They have Fiji banded iguanas now.
I saw that.
If anybody is in the Central Park area, I highly recommend going to their zoo.
That's right. She went to the
I didn't get to
Central
talk
Park
about
Zoo.
that on the
Talk about it.
episode with Max. Our Girl Scout troop, a group of us went up to New York for 5 days. And one of the things that we got to do was we got 2 hours at the Central Park Zoo. You really only need about an hour and a half because it is such a small zoo. It is probably one of the most green and well thought out, laid out like plans for a zoo that I've ever been to. It was absolutely phenomenal. If we lived anywhere closer, we would be members. Like,
Well, what cracks me
it
up
was
is
great.
during the planning meeting for all the parents for this trip, it was suggested they could go to the Central Park Zoo or do some other stupid fucking.
And our
thing.
daughter was all about the zoo.
And yeah, our kid and the two other kids like, yeah, zoo. And this one mom goes, well, if you've seen one zoo, you've seen them all. And my brain went, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, it was.
As someone who was a zookeeper, I'm like, that is not true.
Isn't it crazy though that there's 840 acres in the middle of New York that's just green?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Central Park was probably one of our favorite things. The girls all were very relaxed, and it was very grounding. After
What's amazing
we
is
spent 4 days walking around the city.
is that no one has paid enough money
Not
to
there.
pave it yet and build a building there.
And it's also not the biggest park in
Mm-mm.
New York. It's like third or fourth.
Mm-hmm. What was really cool though is their red panda exhibit was probably one of my favorite because there's no cages at the zoo, so they have enclosures, but the way the enclosures are built, everything is
You do
very
moats
open.
and walls. And things
Yeah.
from-
So I mean, there's a fence, and then like 6 feet in front of you is a red panda, like just moving around, doing its own thing. It's awesome. Like the pictures that I took were not zoomed in at all. It was legit. But until about 6 or 7 years ago, they had a polar bear that was their big like animal mascot or whatever. The polar bear finally passed away. And the mayor of New York at the time was like, don't worry about it. Whatever bear you want, the city of New York is going to make this happen for you. And they ended up finding a grizzly bear orphanage. And what it is when anywhere in the country, when they find a baby that's been abandoned or wanders or into society or whatever, it ends up at this orphanage.
Wanders into society.
I mean,
Just-
yeah, pretty much. Like when it can no.
And if you don't get to them early enough, they get that top hat and that monocle, and they just start thinking way too much about themselves.
So the zoo ended up getting 3 grizzly bear cubs at the same time, a set of siblings,
It's a lot of fucking
and then
grizzly
another
bear.
one. Their enclosure, oh my god, it was spectacular. Of course, all the bears were asleep, so we didn't get to see them like move around. And then they have snow leopards there too.
Love snow leopards.
We did not get to see those either. They were sleeping in the back, but we were there right when they opened.
You know who has
first thing
the
in morning.
best grizzly bear exhibit I've ever seen? Is Memphis. If you go to Memphis Zoo, their grizzly bear exhibit just looks like a mountainside. Like
That's how this was.
It's wide ass open, huge mountainside for their grizzly bears.
And there were 3 different viewing areas, like plexiglass viewing areas from 3 different levels. Like you were going down a walkway. And so you were started off all the way at the top, and then you were like midway, and then you were
Well, probably
right
because they
next
had
to
the
the
polar
grizzly
bear
bear.
and forced they probably had a water thing we can see underwater.
Oh yeah, it wasn't underwater. They may
Was it?
have at one point, but they didn't have this. And then I mean they had sea lions, and they had these massive fruit bats, which were really cool. And
Flying
I
foxes.
showed you a bunch of the reptiles. They had that huge frog in an exhibit with the rainbow boa.
You didn't show me any of the reptiles.
I thought I showed you these
You
pictures.
showed me no pictures of that place.
It's almost 9, so
Okay, real quick. So this
Great
just
zoo, go see it.
this just reminded me talking about the copperheads and the cucumber smell, because our friend Tracy posted they found 6 copperheads in their front yard the other night, which brings it almost to 9 in a month. And
Mhm.
you hear the cucumber thing, I'm like, they don't smell like cucumbers. They definitely have a smell. Like I've gone and found and removed 5 from a place, and there's definitely a smell when they're all together, and it's
Yeah.
not great.
No.
But if your cucumber smells like that, don't fucking eat the cucumber.
Yeah.
It is not good.
what is this? Somebody posted in one of the groups recently. If you smell cucumber, that's because you're near a salad, not because you're near a copperhead.
Oh man. That's cool. Cynthia Cortez posted that the world's largest captive croc turns 120.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That is insane. I'm trying to think. Oh, and then Ryan Gosling posted the baby Komodo dragons from the Chester Zoo.
Did you say Ryan Gosling? So Ryan Gosling watches your podcast?
Ryan Goslow. Goslow, Costello. I don't know how to say it. But Yes. Baby Komodo dragons.
They're so little.
They're so cute and little. Can't kill you at that age.
I would love some of those. I think it'd be cool to have a pair of those in my backyard, like guard dogs.
Fuck yeah.
They just see them sitting there at the fence. I just think that'd be so neat.
Oh, if I had the money, I'd have a house with a moat and alligators.
Oh yes, yeah.
And a drawbridge. I dare a motherfucker to come try and take something out of my car because my wife didn't lock her door.
Then you better have something better than alligators.
Get crocodiles.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Just get giant saltwater crocodiles.
Or some Niles.
Yeah, but could you keep the salt water in your moat?
They don't have to.
They don't have to live in saltwater.
That's what you could do. You could do Niles.
Do Niles. Like, that would work.
No,
Just do Cuban crocs.
There you go.
Cuban crocs
can
are chasing.
run.
They get out.
Like, yeah. Someone's like, oh, they're in the water. I'll be fine. Oh, yeah, you think so?
Where were we that had those?
Cuban crocs?
Croc Encounter.
Crocodile Encounter has them.
But they didn't run.
No.
No,
We
'cause
stood there for a while waiting on them to
They
run
said,
too.
like, out to 100 degrees.
That's
You're
true.
not getting out of the water.
That is true. That is a scary crocodile. I don't need something
Mm-hmm.
that. Fuck that. Anyways, all right, we have been on for like an hour, 45 minutes.
Don't forget about our giveaway. You got a few more days left.
I said our giveaway
We
earlier.
already talked about it.
You did it.
I know at the very beginning.
Yep. And then code Gumbo22 to save some money on VivTech. Go buy light bulbs, folks. We make some money off of that. Help us out.
Yes.
I need to pay for this shit. So Katie quits complaining that the money comes out of her bank
Yep.
account.
Yeah, especially since Lowe's and Home Depot don't carry that stuff anymore.
Fuck. It was funny today. We were doing a little experiment thing at my internship, and we had to use a light. She had a dome light with a bulb in it, and we were trying to make sure we could heat up something. And so my first thought was, let me go see what kind of bulb she has in there, because if she buys it from Home Depot, it's probably an LED bulb, and it wasn't. She had a regular 100-watt incandescent bulb. I'm like, that's an antique at this point. Can't fucking find the light bulb. Police will kill you if you try to use something that's not an LED bulb in your house. But
So, Steve, if people want to get a hold of you for hot sauce or education stuff, how do they do that?
All right, so you can go to my website at snaketuary.com. Of course, my email address is there at info@snaketuary.com, and my personal cell phone is out there. You guys can call me. You can text me if you got any questions or anything like that. So I just want to be available for everybody too. So if they want to order any products or just chit chat or got questions about snakes or anything, or if you live in my area, you got reptiles you can't take care of anymore, you can call me, you can text me, you can email me. I'm pretty accessible. So like I said, I just want to be available for everybody. So
if you get his hot sauces, I need you to just film a small video of you trying it and post it over on our discussion page, just to see how that goes. Especially anybody that gets the
polyvalent anti-venom.
Polyvalent anti-venom. That's level 11 out of 10. I need someone to try that and post a video. Let me know how that goes. So I think real quick, the coral snake one is pineapple, mango, banana jerk sauce.
Yep. I've got a lot of people that marinate their chicken in that one. So
Ooh, that sounds good.
actually, it's got a slow burn to it. I'll give everybody, heads up. It does have a slow burn. You taste it's got a great flavor right at the beginning, and then that heat starts to ramp up a little bit. So
yeah, it's an 8 out of 10 on here, which is funny because your copperhead, which I talked about earlier, which is the Carolina red pepper, is only a 3 out of 10.
Yep.
But
again, like I said, he's a subjective. I've had some people say that copperhead is actually hotter than some of the other stuff. So it's all up to the person, man.
The cane break one is chipotle and blood orange. Everybody, let's try that. What does the cottonmouth venom one taste like? Because I always hear them talk about how great it is over on THN, but
yeah, so it's kind of like a verde sauce. It's got serranos and tomatillos in it, and a lot of people talk about putting that one on tacos or burritos, that kind of thing. So,
and then your pygmy rattlesnake one.
That one's got chocolate cherries and red wine in it. So
what?
Yep. It's got a real sweet flavor to it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I want to try that one. All right, we're gonna have to order some hot sauces at some point. So yeah, reach out to Steve, get some hot sauce, go get you a shirt, get you a sticker. I think there was some mugs.
Yeah, and I want to throw this out there too, because a lot of people don't talk about this. Is that educational card deck that I put out last year? So we've got it's got 20 cards, and it's got a lot of the local snake.
Oh, yeah.
And so we've got pictures of the snakes on the front with their common name and their Latin name. And on the back side, it's got a lot of educational information about that particular snake. Now, the green border snakes are the non-venomous. The yellow is the mildly venomous, and then the red are the venomous.
Oh, yeah, I'm totally buying a set of these for my
For your
zoology
classroom?
club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're in Louisiana, even if you're not in Louisiana, if you're in the surrounding
I was going to say,
states,
these
you
would
have
still be cool to have.
you
in
have a lot of
Texas.
these animals in the same states: Texas, Mississippi, Arkansas.
Yep, exactly.
Definitely check those out over at stevesnaketuary.com and go check out his store and get those cards. They're little playing cards with all the information on them. It's really cool.
Yep.
Guys, y'all got anything else?
Nope.
I'll see y'all in 2 weeks.
That's true. Katie's gonna be
3
gone
weeks.
for the next 2 weeks. She'll be out of here. Next week is the 4th of July.
With little to no
Katie has now
signal.
challenged me because I said I don't have.
I don't think anybody's going to want
I
to
said I don't have
record
any
or
guests
listen
for-
to a podcast on the 4th of July.
I said I don't have a guest for the 4th of July, and she told me it's a holiday. You won't get anybody. So
I
now,
don't think so.
fuck that. I'm gonna get me a guest for the
I
4th of
have
July.
Robert may be doing stuff with his family on the 4th of July.
Yeah.
Hey,
That night.
Yeah.
with me
Yeah.
being a firefighter EMT, I'm working next weekend. So
No.
look, emergencies don't get holidays.
No.
You know what I
I'm
mean?
not driving between my house and here with all these idiots with fireworks. on the 4th of
No.
July.
So then
I'm
maybe
telling
maybe
you.
we'll do
I
the 5th
don't.
of July.
Yes.
Okay.
Wednesday.
Yeah. Or we just take a break. But you
James
don't have
doesn't
anything to look
like
forward to already,
breaks.
so
Be all by myself, huh?
you can always come hang out at my house.
By
We'll talk about it.
yourself.
So, anyways, thanks everybody for watching. Steve, stay around. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Give us 1 second to log off. Say goodbye to everybody. We'll be back at some point. Then we'll be back. So, good night.